Maurisa Gibson-Bailey, sports scientist, exercise physiologist, who is joining us for a segment from playground to podium. We continue discussing careers in sport. Some of the questions that came up last week, we're going to take a look at that, but I just want to say good morning, Marissa.
Good morning, Lisa. Happy Mother's Day.
Well,
Hi,
same to
Carrie.
you, same
Hi.
to you.
And good
Oh
morning to
my
the rest
gosh.
of the
And your beautiful son, Joshua. I know you're going to have
Oh,
a wonderful Mother's Day. Before we jump in, any special plans in this type of situation that we're in? How are you going to be spending it, do you think?
um, well, you know that I lost my mom just recently, so it's more of a reflection and really an appreciation for motherhood
Yes.
and really appreciating my son, my husband, and my
Hmm.
sisters, my aunts, just appreciating the people that are around me
Yes, yes,
and just honing in on that.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So last week, you and Kent, you guys spoke about, how do you as
Yes.
sports scientists tailor programs for athletes during this confined period? And what are some of the other careers that you can work behind the scenes to make the sport or athlete happen? Life after sport, the retired or retired athlete. I think you guys spoke about all of that last week, right?
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant questions from those guys. I mean, DJ Rockers did honing on a very intelligent question actually about what happens behind the scene and what are some of the careers behind the scene.
Mm-hmm.
What I really wanted to hone in on that question is that for the elite sport performance aspect of things, we were talking about the sport biomechanics, we were talking about sport physiologists, the sports psychologists, and there were those specialists who do interdisciplinary interventions.
Yeah.
In addition to that, you have the strength and conditioning coach. So those are the key careers that you have behind sport performance, including the sports dietitian or nutritionist.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's other aspects, for example, research and teaching, coaching and sport development, which is very, very, very important before you even reach the elite performance. Within our region, we have the sport development officers that work within the community to develop sport and to encourage some sort of physical activity or being active in the first place. Then
Mm-hmm.
there is the coach, who I would have mentioned the last time is the orchestra, is the director of the orchestra. That's the person, in addition to that athlete, is the center of the process. I always like to reiterate on that because professionals like myself will exist because of the coach and the athlete. Who we are in service to,
Yeah.
always letting them know that they are important and we can't exist without them. But
Mm-hmm.
also having that level of respect between ourselves to know that we all can't go forward if we don't coexist.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Mm-hmm.
there is the secondary and primary school teachers. Physical education professionals are underlooked, and it's something that I don't like because I feel that um, they are very, very important
Mm-hmm.
in the whole process. Before you even become an elite athlete, these professionals that I'm calling here now are very, very important in the
Well, many
initial
of them are the
development.
ones who spot the children in the first place, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
and we treat
Mm-hmm.
them with such disdain, especially physical education teachers who do a lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then there are the higher education lecturers, the research assistants who deal within the state, the sporting arena, the sport officers, and the director of sport physical education. These are people who actually orchestrate from that community national level, like pulling things together. So these
Yeah.
are careers that you can get involved
What
in.
about the
Uh,
therapists, the ones who do the massage of the athletes and so on? The
right.
physiotherapists, I believe.
I'm glad you asked about that because then there's the sport medicine aspect of things. So you see, there are different branches that call for different professionals. I know we can't talk about everything, but
Right.
along in this under sport medicine, you would have physical therapists, athletic trainers, sport medicine physicians.
Yes.
You'll have sport massage therapists, right? And then there's the clinical aspect of it that deals with exercise, health, and fitness,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where you have the clinical physiologist or the clinical psychologist, health promotion specialist, you have the personal trainers,
Yeah.
right? These are people that actually deal with the general health population, even the exercise physiologist, where they deal with health.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be specific in any sport. It's general health, which I think is really, really important here.
And then you have the
Given
scientists like yourselves, the sports scientists. Well, you're also an exercise physiologist
is
as
that's
well.
why
Mm-hmm.
Lisa, that's why I dipped in both fields. So then you can be diverse in the sense that you're dealing with clinical exercise health physiologist, that's the exercise physiologist aspect of it. And then there's the sports scientist that deals with the elite performance
Mm-hmm.
aspect of it.
It's a whole
So
industry. You know what?
yeah.
We have to talk about life after sport. You know, the
Yeah.
retired or retiring athlete or coach or so on. Can you tell me? Can you give me some tips in 2 minutes?
Oh, great. Last time I actually did talk to Carrie about that. It's really about planning
Yeah.
and knowing to yourself. I talk about passion, introspection as to what it is that you would want to do, not necessarily you think that it's automatic because you're an athlete to get into sport, but you may have a desire to be a business owner, you may be a desire to get into any field, be a medical practitioner, a teacher, so it's to dig deep within and
Mm.
actually have some introspection as to where your passion is and you follow that passion.
I
If
don't
it's
know if you
within
guys
sport,
spoke
then
about.
fine.
I don't know if you guys spoke about branding, which is so important because then you can take your brand and extend it into
Oh,
merchandising and some of the other things
yes.
that come, especially if you're a successful brand as an athlete.
Yes, great. And you convert that into a business.
Yeah.
But then again, you'll have to have the background. So going to school while you're actually training, that balance,
Yes.
that education and training balance, you have to be able to keep that up so that
Mm-hmm.
you have a smooth transition. That smooth
Yeah.
transition is really key.
Yeah.
So all your support, for example, if you have an agent,
Yeah.
these are the things that they need to be able to help the athlete transition into.
Yeah. All right, Maurisa. Well, and of course, not forgetting very own Ken, sports broadcaster.
Yes.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there because we have to kick it upstairs for the news at the top of the hour. It's always a special pleasure speaking with you, Maurisa
Yes,
Gibson-Bailey,
same here, same here.
exercise physiologist, sports scientist.